story.
Life story. Welcome welcome all one more time here on your wonderful show. Sankofa, your host, Maponga J, live from Galaxy Universal Network here in Johannesburg, South Africa. And with us tonight, it can never be better. We have a guest, an author, a writer, a playwright, personnel, par excellence in our space to be taking us through and having conversations around her own life story. She has sat down to write her own story. Now, many of you might not understand me, of course, because I think I give you lots of chaos and trouble. I am an artist in my own right. I write and I do crafts. And when my head is clouded with many things, I find something that I can work on, like yes, something. And while I'm working on that thing, I'm able to process quite an amount of information. And in the world of psychology, they say you must either find a hobby, whether you write your story down, you paint something, do art, do craft, do agriculture, so that that energy that is trapped in you, which is almost going towards a cancerous, diabetic, high blood pressure, you need to let that energy go. But you don't let it go by sitting around and crying in the night and pulling tissues no, you need to find a physical activity where you can take this energy out. And I want to recommend to us as Africans that one way of taking that energy out is through writing. So write your stories. Write your stories. How you feel, how you think, what has happened, how it has happened, and how do you feel about it, what do you want to do, and by doing so, you are taking all this thing out of you onto a piece of paper. And honestly speaking, oftentimes after I have written something, I pass out. I sleep. Because it's like this thing, because my life is circled from 3 a.m. in the morning. And that's when I get my wake-up call to do spiritual stuff, none of your business. But when I get these downloads, I must write. And boom, when I put that final full stop, and I say, I am the watcher from the future, living with you in the present, with solutions from the past. Gospel according to Maponga J. Boom. Goof. Literally, I could put the phone down there and I pass out for the next 3, 4, 5 hours. And my mind is at peace, my body is at peace. So she has written a book as a way of dealing with her problem. Now, I have 2 ladies with me, Usisi,
Laura Makhafula.
Laura Makhafula, with our assistant host here, Koko Umfoko. I'll allow the ladies to have their woman talk and etc. By the time I come back there, I want us to interrogate this book and the process that you went through while you were writing the book. Over to you, Gogo.
In dismay, she hit another woman, Castina, twin lover. In desperation, she opened her arms to take back an abusive lover. In divorce, she walked away from a good man. In disaster, she went through surgery that left her with 1 lung. In distress, she attempted suicide twice, but life refused to be snuffed out. In disclosure, she's letting the masses in her life story via her book called Through Hell But Not Consumed. Tamakwini, Diabulela, I'm back again, Enyagenomcha. That is our lady, Laura. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Amago. That's just a mouthful for me. Before we go there, who is Laura? I understand you're a life coach also?
Yeah, Laura is a life coach, NLP practitioner. I'm a facilitator. I also deal with men. So I've got a men liberation movement that I'm focusing on. So my niche as a life coach is focusing mainly on men.
Right, the masculine energy.
I don't think I'm ready.
Are you ready for that one? Yes, Laura. So, Laura, you say you mentioning that you're focusing on men. I just want to understand, was that based on what inspired that?
The truth is, a whole lot of men are emotionally wounded. That is why we see men abusing women. We see a whole lot of murder cases and all that, abuse cases. It's only because they are emotionally wounded from childhood. So their childhood trauma, because it's not dealt with. Remember, there's this saying,
Right.
so now a man from an early age, he grows up with that. A young boy, when he falls from a bicycle, we're saying, do not cry, you're a man. But if it's a girl, we're saying, hi baby, hi no, sorry, no, mama. Then we're saying to these two kids, a girl should be treated, better, unlike a man or unlike a boy. So when they grow up with that thing that I will not disclose or I will not be vulnerable. So because they don't show their vulnerability, they end up showing their power through physical abuse. Yes.
Now, that's quite interesting coming from you because from what I have with the research that I've done, I understand that when you were 16 somewhere there, you were hurt by a man, a boy.
Yes.
That fight when he just
dragged me on, yes. So it was my first boyfriend.
All right.
I was doing standard 9. I had met this
So
guy.
at standard 9 you already had a boyfriend?
Yeah, as my first boyfriend.
First or not? You're still at high school.
Yeah, but we grow up different.
That's not a boyfriend.
Era.
We call them kiss friend.
Thank you.
Okay, I had the kiss friend. So the guy, during the process, he ended up finding somebody else because I was not there. My focus was on my studies. My focus was also with my father because each and every weekend my father would come from Joburg to come home and I was daddy's little girl. My father was a plumber. I would go with my dad to go and fix taps and do plumbing stuff. Okay. So I didn't have time for him. So he ended up finding somebody else. When he found somebody else, then I said, okay, let me pull back. I don't want you anymore. But because I was at that teenage years, I wanted to replace him with somebody. I met somebody better.
Right. Somebody they thought was better.
Somebody I thought was better. So the guy became jealous.
Okay.
So this one day, he found me with this guy. And then he wanted to talk to me and I said, no, but we're over. Then he wanted to talk to me, forcing matters. Then I started running. He ran after me and then he pushed me on a gravel road. He started dragging me. So my the whole of my left skill fell off. That was my first traumatic experience.
And how did it affect you at the time?
It took away my self-confidence. I felt I'm not beautiful. I felt that I am not worthy. I was just, I lost myself, I would say. So my self-confidence went.
Right. Now, tell me something. That's I'm quite interested now when you're saying that you lost your self-confidence. How did you then, during those years, and how long did it take you to regain you?
Honestly speaking, I had to put in a different face, trying to tell the world that I'm fine, but I wasn't okay. Up until the whole left side healed and then the scar disappeared. That is when I regained my confidence, and that was when I was in varsity. When I wrote my matric, I had the very same scar, and you know what, I wasn't me, I wasn't myself, because naturally I'm this bubbly person, I'm this tsitsakara, I can so, but yeah. Yeah, ngenza busy, but because of the scar, it took away that. So I was just a school child. I was just a teenager going to school and coming back.
And then at varsity, were you still feeling the same, the self-confidence?
Because the scar was disappearing, so I started having that self-confidence.
From what I've got to know, that you used herbs to recover the skin. I'm interested in that, based on the fact that the show that we're in, it's all about showcasing the beauty of being an African, the beauty of beauty of being a black person. Let me just narrow it to Africans. So can you share that the secret herb, apparently?
All right. My father's father was a traditional healer. So I'm from So I'm from that family. So after I used creams from clicks and then the scar was there and not healed inside. And then he started giving me some herbs. I do not know what those herbs
secret ingredients.
Yes, but he started giving me those herbs and I recovered.
I'm excited for you that you've come up to this level. Now, as my opening statement, that's
Stina.
you want that Stina, Gogo. Tell me about the Stina process and the whole, oh my word, and taking back some.
Let's hold it right there. When we come back after the break, this woman, Stina. Let's come back after the break and let's hear how this Stina story unpens itself. We'll be right back.
Make massive moves.
Isn't that your daughter's bib? But the truth is, I feel like Arabella's always with me.
Don't you ever forget this man's face. He killed your brother.
Make massive moves with Starside.
I want you to eat healthy food because it's delicious.
Make massive moves.
Would you like another one?
I love it.
I love this too. This is amazing. The grits are so creamy. Oh.
I take pride in my grits.
So flavorful.
I think that looks wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so incredible.
Make massive moves with Starside.
While you're on it, right here on your program, Sankofa, we are hearing a life story of how a young lady grew up, the challenges that she has gone through, and how those challenges have shaped her to be what she is. And she suffered abuse at an early age, where a boyfriend, apparently parted ways with her. And after parting with her, then, she was with someone else, but the man came in to abuse her and etc., dragged her, peeling off her skin on the other side and etc. That affected her self-esteem and other things. And now she's here to be telling us how she's navigated it. Remember, Sankofa is real people, real stories, and sharing their lives with you, so that when you find yourself in a similar situation, make better choices. Over to you, Gogo.
Thank you, Tata.
It's Tina.
It's Tina.
Oh. She's not going to let go of this one.
No, I'm not going to let go of this one. I want to know the Stina. What happened?
So the Stina happened when I met this guy that later dragged me and my skin fell off. So when this guy came to my village, he dated somebody else before.
Right.
He came to do matric and I was doing stand at 9. Then the guy came and dated this lady and I became attracted to this guy.
Right.
So I went in knowing there's this girl. But because he was my first boyfriend and I was excited and I had a group of women or ladies or girls that were protecting me and they said, nah, even if she tries and beat you up, we will be there.
Now,
we will help you.
Is it the same man that dragged you?
Yes.
So that's where now you're saying you opened arms for somebody who you welcome back somebody who really hurt you.
No, that is different. Okay. That is somebody
so now
different.
The Stina now went into a process whereby you took over from the old your old lover, so to speak, high school loving, and now we took then that woman, whoever that she was, then she was gone. Now, okay, unpack for me. Continue.
So after meeting this guy, fell for him, and then we connected. So the lady found out, and then she wanted to beat me. She confronted me at school, and then it was like, after school is after school. And yeah, after school, it had to happen. We fought, but the guy was not there.
Right. Now you bring out something here whereby women-to-women violence, whereby even at that young age, you know, you feel the authority that you can violate another woman. And now I just want to understand, how did it make you feel at the time?
At that time, it felt good. I didn't know any better. So for me, it was, yeah, it's life. This is how things are happening. So let me just join the queue.
No, okay.
It's just now when I look back, I'm like, God, I could have done things different.
That's what I wanted to find out. Now that you are matured, would you still do the same?
No, not at all.
You would deal with things differently. And
but what is exciting for me, which I want to highlight, that she goes in a relationship with a boyfriend, and she knows this man has a woman, and she does not have a problem with the fact that the man is attached to another woman. She can deal with that. But maybe her concept is that when I get there, I'll push off the other one. But at the bottom, it's not like she had a problem with knowing that this boyfriend that you are walking into has another relationship.
I didn't have a problem. I knew.
So had you and the girlfriend spoken and agreed that, okay, let's both of us date this guy. We're now talking at a mature level of polygamy, where now in modern generations, men of our women actually think that they are alone in their relationships. When in fact, Uncle Tom, he's got 3 other wives that he's actually running with.
Yes.
But I'm looking at that from that angle, that women can actually gather strength from themselves to say, even if he is involved, what if women can actually sit down and discuss and say, sis, every other evening ungapha kwami asimhlanganele ke sobathathu sibe yi4 mawungena na ungavala iminyango ngoba bazongena abanye.
Mina baba, I always write on my social media to say polygamy is the new currency. Look, gone are those days whereby you would say, I want exclusivity. Because amadoda ayashoda, most men basejele, men have turned themselves to be gay. So the little that we have, even the Bible says that in the last days, 7 women will be sharing 1 man just for the surname.
You know, I like. I like what you just brought up, Dada, because it just shows that the bravery that you had, this thing of being able to enter into a relationship, knowing the polygamy mentality or the concept, it's in our DNA, so to speak, and it's something that we as Africans we cannot run away from.
I grew up from that. My grandfather. My father's father, the one who was a Sangoma, he had 2 wives. So I knew polygamy. Maybe this why for me it just became natural to say, okay, there's nothing wrong with this. Let me just...
And maybe because then the platform of how the approach of how you entered into it was not followed through the cultural customs, because you went in there and now she fought with you. Had it been a case as Dada Echugut, maybe you guys have sat down and then let's state and let's have this 3 thing and talk about it. Now take me through to the next phase whereby you're opening up yourself to somebody and the lung issues.
So Washa along as Tina and you took the boyfriend and he divorced the other one?
Yeah, but now karma came back because not so long ago the guy dragged me on the gravel road. Again? No, I mean that time. Immediately after shying that one Nestina and being exclusive with him, and then he
also the Stina story is prior to the you actually shired a lady with the Stina, and the boyfriend that you went with is the one who later on abused you.
Yes.
Wow, that's bad.
Wow. Yeah. So later on, the long story. So 2006, I started getting sick. That was after my varsity. So I got a job. It was in April, and then I started getting sick. But when I started getting sick, I thought maybe it's the aircons because I was working with Caucasian people. and they loved the aircon, so I was blocked and all that. But when I went to consult, because it continued, and when I went to consult, they said I've got pneumonia. But the medication they gave to me didn't help, to a point whereby I started deteriorating and being very, very sick. Started coughing blood, and then my mom asked my doctor to write a letter for me to go to the hospital to do an x-ray. Then when I came back, it was discovered, okay, I've got TB. Then the doctor referred me to the clinic. When I went to the clinic, okay, they ran some tests, even HIV test, it came negative, and yeah, so it was discovered it's only TB.
Right.
But the problem is I was misdiagnosed. I was given a normal TB treatment, whereas I had MDR, multi-drug resistant. So with that normal TB treatment, it killed my lung. So my left lung was destroyed, it died. So I started coughing out pieces of meat. They were coming out of my mouth. Yes, very rotten, very stinky. They were coming out of my mouth.
Sure.
And I became very, very sick. I couldn't do anything, but luckily my mom was there to bath me, to do everything for me. Up until 2007 January, I got admitted in hospital where they deal with MDR. That's when we found out, after 6 months of taking normal TB treatment, and then I'm not even converting, then I went to get another opinion. That's when I found out, no, it's MDR TB. Then I had to move from home because it's deemed very contagious. You cannot be around people. I stayed in...
So I must run away from you now.
No. Right now I'm here. Okay? It's been how many years? From 2007? So it's been long. So I got admitted at a hospital called Sizwe. It's in St. Rehab. So they're only dealing with MDR and XDR, very severe TB. I stayed there 8 full months without going home.
Sure.
I felt like I was in jail. I felt like it's the end of my life, because every day when I woke up, somebody is dead next to me.
My goodness.
We would be looking at the TV, watching TV, and somebody just gasped for air and then they die. So every day there was a different story of somebody dying. So my question was, am I next? Am I next? And to make matters worse, I was taking 100 pills a day.
My word.
60 in the morning, 40 at night. There was no medication for MDR. We were guinea pigs. So we were the first to try the medication. So today they would put this, tomorrow they take it out, today they give you this. So we were just guinea pigs. Wow. Sad part is 4 months down the line, I was not converting. And then I went to my treating doctor to say, doctor, but I'm not getting better. And people that came after me, they are living before me and they are well. And my doctor said, but those people are taking HIV tablets, and you are not HIV positive. We cannot give you this medication. To be quite honest with you, Laura, we've done everything we could. There's nothing left for you. What's left for you is to die here. Because you can't go home.
You were left with how many weeks to die? You were told that you were left with so many weeks to die.
She said to me, 2 months is too much.
Yes.
But that day became my turning point, because now I've tried Western medication, it didn't work, and I'm in hospital. I cannot even try traditional medication. So now the only thing I can start doing is to have faith in God.
All right.
My sister introduced me into God, and then I started reading Bible. I started having that faith, because as a life coach now, I understand what happened back then. Power of the mind. If you've got negative thoughts, then it means you're sending the negative message to the universe, and you will never attract positive things. But because I changed my mind back then, And I started saying, okay, fine, everything has failed, but this one thing I haven't tried. Let me just give my all to it. And that is when I started seeing the change, because my thought pattern had changed from negative to be positive. Then the universe gave me, yes.
This sounds like a miracle. With the change of mindset and you're not feeling well.
So they ultimately cut off your other lung.
Yes.
Take us through that.
So I went out of hospital, got married, 2009, when I had a small
4 years
baby.
later. From 2005, this 2009.
No, that was 2007, now it's 2009.
2 years later.
2 years later, I was married with the ex-husband.
Still with your...
Yes, the lung was there but was rotten. But because of the medication, those pieces of meat were not coming out as...
Because I would wonder what husband would marry you and you go and you are spitting out pieces of meat.
I was so blessed, Baba. This guy is the very same guy that was with me when I started being admitted.
Okay.
He was there all along, and when I started getting sick, I had chased him away. He came back when I was sick to say, I want to be with you, even if when you are sick. So he was there.
Was like an angel.
He was an angel.
Through sickness and health.
He was there.
So they say.
He was there. So 2009, I went for an operation, because now a year later, I started again coughing those pieces of meat. But now my worry was, I've got a small baby. I need to take care. And
you got pregnant in this whole process?
Yes. When I got pregnant in this whole process, I was told to abort the child.
Yes, I remember that one.
So now I was told to abort the child, but because I knew the power of my God, the power of my belief, I didn't want to abort. And then I was told, okay, but the child is either going to die or it's not going to be normal. And I said, I'm willing to take that chance. 7 months down the line, something happened. I went to the doctor to do an operation. No, sorry, just for a checkup. Then the doctor said, no, but the baby's not covered with water anymore. You need to be admitted. Then I got admitted. It was on Thursday. Saturday in the morning, then when the nurse came, they found that the baby's heartbeat is not there anymore. So he was deemed dead. They rushed me to emergency surgery. Then when I got there, okay, they operated me. The baby didn't cry. They wrapped him up and all that. They wrote all the reports.
So the baby was alive? The baby still is alive?
My son is 13 years old now.
Wow.
So when they were about to go out of the door, pushing him, he started crying.
No.
Today my son is 13 years old.
My goodness.
Normal, the most intelligent boy. So there's a whole lot that happened.
The trauma. And the trauma of thinking that you actually have a dead child. And boom, they come back. I mean, the emotional yo-yo. It's like you go that side and then you must move back here. And
that's so much true, because even when they started saying, the baby's crying, and then we were rushing and doing everything, for me, it was like, okay, what's happening? Because I was traumatized. I didn't understand what's happening, because I had accepted the fact that, okay, he's gone. Now the baby's crying. Okay, whose baby is that? Up until they gave me that baby and then they put him here, and I was like, okay, this is my baby.
Wow. You know, Laura,
wow.
Something is happening in my head while you're talking. I'm just going to divert a bit. You spoke of you being in varsity. As a matter of interest, I would like to find out, like, when you were in varsity, you were doing certain degrees and all that. Because I understand now that you are a life coach, and with this life, when you're living it, these experiences, this trauma, I don't think you had in your mind that one day I would want to write a book and tell. You know, you were just going through the traumas and surviving and everything. So I just want to find out as to maybe what have you studied, and then what from there did you now, can you still go back to it based on the fact that you now written this book and going forward?
I did IT, but it was not my choice. You know, when uhlale emakhaya, then there's no career guidance. So I wrote my matric, passed very well, but I didn't even find space and register somewhere. So the only thing I could do was IT at PC training because varsities were closed, the registrations. So, and I didn't want to just sit home. So I had to go and do IT. Second year of my diploma, I discovered, no, this is not me. But because I was not paying for myself, my parents said, girl, you are going to finish this.
Can I tell you something? I want to become a landscape engineer.
Wow.
I want to become a doctor,
Right.
medical doctor.
Okay.
And then my father sent me to a college because I was in a church school and a theological church school. So after some time, I found myself actually in a theological seminary. So I pushed for 2 years. And then I wake up one morning and say, Dad, I don't want to do this thing. Yes, this pastoring thing.
It's not for me.
I'd already been suspended twice between while I'm training. Like your parents, my father says, hey, Mshan, because you have started, I will not take an exit as a solution. Do it and finish. Then go ahead and do everything.
Yes. So that's what happened to me also.
Now, I'm interested. That's why I wanted to bring that up. You know, from what you just said, it goes back to our way of being brought up as families. I don't want to say African or black communities or black families, but I would say most parents would want, because we always believe we've got the best interest of our kids at heart, and we believe that they have to start something and finish it. So I just wanted to highlight that and bring it out from you. Now the divorce, what happened with the divorce?
Nothing happened. It was the time for us to part ways. You know, in life, you meet people for a certain reason, and when their time is done or is over, then that chapter will finish whether you like it or not. We didn't fight, we're still best of friends. It's just that his role in my life was finished.
That's very mature, Nora. That's very highly mature for you to have reached that. How did you reach it? Tell us this. How did you come out to that conclusion? Because there's so many, I would say, marriages and I would say couples, partners, who will still hang on, you know, and don't understand that concept. How did you come to that?
It was not easy, and I'm going to be very honest with you because that was my first episode of depression.
Right.
Because I couldn't understand this man that came back after I've chased him away. He came back. He had been with me through my sickness. He supported me with his money, medical aid and all that. Now that I'm 100% well, now we're not clicking anymore. So I couldn't understand that. So I went into depression and I started getting medication. I even stayed for 2 weeks in Vista Hospital, which is a hospital for years. So now I stayed there for 2 weeks. I came back and I couldn't accept this. But seeing the relationship that we have outside the marriage, it made me to realize, you know what, I better still have him as my brother, as my friend, as my the father of my child, unlike making an enemy, because now we are not anymore.
You're not vibrating at the same level anymore.
Yes.
And how did he take it?
Look, we tried. He tried also because he didn't want it to end also. And we didn't understand our reason for meeting, that it was just for a certain period of time. So we fought, both of us, to make it work, but it didn't because there was a greater purpose. So we ended up, we went to court together, ran back, we held each other with hands. We went there and said, we're filing for divorce. That was when, after we have realized, okay, now this, we filed for divorce. They didn't even want to grant us divorce. Our divorce, we only paid 150 rand.
Wow.
Just for the sheriff to save him.
You know what, when Nancy Galora, I'm just there's another angle that I want to bring out of this, to say, if you were to what is it that you think you could have done differently if you were to now align it ngesintu, you know, with all this process, your path. What is it that you feel that you could have done it differently? Maybe if I'd referred with my elders and maybe considered the polygamy or not considered polygamy, or what is it that in this whole journey, even when after reaching to a certain stage whereby now you guys are divorcing, what is it that you think we would have done
There's nothing we didn't do traditionally, because when the problem started, we consulted the elders.
Now, are you saying to me that you consulted the elders, physical elders, or the spiritual ones?
We started with the physical elders, and we were told, okay, fine, nibadala, bonani plani, do something. And because mina, I'm brought up in that spiritual way, yes. I know guti mele siyo consult. We did.
Sure.
Believe you me, we did. There is nothing we didn't do. So we did, and maybe another thing, it has to do with my spiritual path.
Right.
You know, sometimes we meet people that our ancestors don't want them to be in our lives. But because of our inyama, our carnal ways, we want them in our lives.
Right.
Do you get my point?
I get you.
So I only discovered later that no, Laura, but you've got this gift. Okay, I haven't done it.
Now, I wanted just to trigger that part one, because I heard that you're saying you're also Koko to how are you Koko Bani and all that.
No. I haven't went for training.
Okay.
But I know, Guti, what gift do I have?
Right.
I know, Guti, kwenzakalani with me.
Okay.
The dreams, the visions, you know, the messages and all that.
All right. Dada, I know I heard you were very interested about finding more about the book.
Yeah, because for me that is the therapy. That is the therapy, the solutions around a woman going through so much trauma and finding strength to stand up again and put her feet on the ground. I would want maybe just to grill you a little bit on the writing process.
Okay.
How did you start? How was the process? And how did you feel after the process?
I never dreamt of being an author. So what I was doing, because when I started doing this life coaching, I understood the power of writing things down. So I started writing in my journal, but it was for me to heal, to take it out, those emotions, to take them out. Up until when we had level 5 lockdown last year in March. Then I was like, okay, fine. Now that we can go to work, now that I cannot even consult with my clients, I can't do anything, why don't I just piece this together and make it a book? Then that's how my book came to life.
Wow. So basically you took your journal and your stories and you put them together to come up with a book. Exactly. When someone's reading your book, what must they expect in that book?
It's a journey of hope. It's a story of resilience. So a whole lot of people are going through trials and tribulations, but they think in their stories are unique, or they are the only ones going through the highest problems. But when you go through my book, because it has everything. Now you realize, no, man.
Mine is not as bad.
I
heard also you mentioning the issues of suicide, which at what point of your journey? At what point, and what had precipitated, what events had led to you actually thinking that maybe an exit button was the best way out of this world? And I want also to know, how did they send you back? Because it looks like your son was sent back after he thought he was dead, and you were sent. All about you is about me.
I was sent back because the life support machine didn't go on, and then I was deemed dead. So there's a whole lot of stories, like I'm a living testimony.
Right. Repeat that. I didn't. How were you declared dead?
2009. So I went for the lung operation finally. to remove the lump.
Okay.
Because right now I'm only living with one. The left one, it's no more.
Right.
It's gone.
They removed it?
Yeah.
So you have one lung?
Yes. And I'm healthy.
Okay.
Right.
Just
one lung lady with us here.
Yeah. So when I went through the operation was supposed to take 7 hours, but it took 11 hours. Then after the operation, they have to put life support machine so that you can go to ICU. The life support machine didn't go on. Now, when the whole operation was happening, my then husband, who is my ex now, was there watching me through the window when the whole operation was happening. So the doctor came to him and went to him and said, I'm sorry, Mr. Lesabe, but we did everything we could, we lost her. And he screamed the loudest no. I think spiritually, because I didn't hear him, I'm talking about what he explained to me later on. So I think spiritually, that is where I heard him scream, and because he said to me, I said, no, what about Bokamoso? Bokamoso is that miracle child.
The miracle child.
And he was only 6 months old when I did the operation. So he was thinking, but what am I going to do now? So I woke up. The life support
when you were screaming, you woke up?
Yes, the life support machine started tweet, and then they ran and then they put some pipe, very heavy pipes, very hating. Then I was taken to ICU and I stayed there for
He screamed you back to life?
Yeah,
kind of.
Kind of. So I don't know what happened.
They say actually ears, or the sense of hearing, is the last sense that dies. When all other senses are shutting down, the sense of hearing remains right there. So even in the time of an operation or sedation and what, even when a person is declared dead, as long as there is still some life in there, ears are still working.
I
So
believe that.
maybe right there. I mean, the other day in my pastoral world, they say, no, the trumpet shall sound, the dead shall hear him. So the whole gospel is actually founded on dead people. It doesn't say that they shall see him.
Yeah.
They shall hear.
They shall hear him. So ears remain actually as a very sensitive item. And of course, on our bodies, of course, hair never dies. Being the signal, being the wire that connects between the physical and the spiritual. You've quite a moving story. Moving story. Wow. Now, how do you divorce such a man who has been with you and scream? Where did you lose each other?
I don't know. We don't know. It was meant to happen.
And he's the father of your child?
Yes.
Sure. You know, what really struck me that is the fact that as she understands that from the traditional perspective, they went and consulted and did all those things, but still.
It's bongo sakeng ngubani?
The guy, Lesabe,
what is that animal?
Kapi.
Kapi is the fish. And you are?
An elephant.
An elephant.
Okay.
Do you have a history between the Kapis and the elephants in the Tswana tribe?
I don't know.
No, because I know, for example, in the Zulu space, where the Mtimkulus and other tribes fought in the past, and the tribes made a decision that no one from this tribe must marry from the other tribe. And many of these young girls meet up in Joburg Jan, meet up in Joburg UJ, they get shaking in Senten. 6 months later, relationship just collapsed, unexplained. And they come to us, and they're like, it's wrong, money. Hi, company kaya, go back home and find out. This relationship actually is a deeper spiritual. So sometimes I'll go explaining, honestly, this man could have been an angel.
Yeah.
If he was not your angel in terms of your medical journey. But here you are divorcing the man, quote unquote, who loved you, the man, quote unquote, who cared for you, the man, quote unquote, who paid for you, the man, quote unquote, father of your child, and the relationship simply can't work. To an extent, people are holding hands while going to a divorce court to go and say we are parting. So maybe
Yeah, maybe it has a spiritual explanation.
There's another aspect that I'd like to bring, which is something that you mentioned. You know, that there are certain individuals that come into our life for a certain purpose.
And the season.
And season. So that might have been the role that they come for, that particular role, they play the role, and when you guys, you walk the path, and when you've reached the destination, then you have to part ways, and then the rebirth of another life. So that's why I said initially, I'm very inspired by the maturity of both of you to have really understood to reach that level.
What's your relationship like now with him?
It's very good. Very, very good.
Takes the boy out, you keep the boy?
Now he's even staying with my boy from last year.
So you are free?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's good. You know, I think also an aspect of coming to the cultural perspective with all this, the blessings are from your family to say now you can be able to tell your story. Do you understand that we have been brought up in a way that we're supposed to hold things to our chest. Now you've even written it down that I want the whole world to know. And how has been the support and the response?
Wow, the support is very good, and people are receiving the book very well. Like the feedback, people are being revived. They're like, yo, girl, you just brought us to life again, men and women.
Now, Tam, how has the book healed the men? As you mentioned that you've got this man, is there a link between the two?
There's a chapter that I wrote for men, but I didn't put it in the book yet. But I'm going to add it in the book. However, remember, men also go through their own challenges, trials and tribulations. So the book is not for women only. It's for everyone who's human that is going through problems, to say, you know what, do not give up. If she's still alive, if she could come back and be the person she is now, who am I to give up as a person? So that is how it's linked to everybody. But for me to deal with men, like you're saying, I later learned when I started my practice as a life coach that, like you say, people, they react how they do because it serves a certain purpose for them. So these men, they did what they did to me only because of there's an inner child that is hurting inside them.
Right.
So for example, nobody wakes up and say, I want to be a murderer. I want to be a rapist. I want to be an abuser. It's a series of things that happens over time and again, and it piles up in a person's mind, and then they start changing who they are to become something else.
So, you know, you just sharing the foundation of the gender-based violence, so to speak.
Yes.
And I heard that as a life coach, what platforms have you gone to, and what testimonies have you come across?
Meaning, when you're saying platforms, can you?
Like, have you, whereby you've done the workshops, are you doing workshops on your life coaching and also on this movement of men?
Okay, the movement is not yet registered. I was doing it on my own capacity, but I'm getting a whole lot of requests for me to make it official. But I do my life coaching with men on a daily basis. I do also host Zoom meetings. I call it meeting with the kings. And then we talk about these problems that they have. And a whole lot of them, after the session, they open up. They start saying, I want a private session. This is what I'm going through. I've been sodomized when I was young. I saw my mom and dad fighting when I was young, and that's why I am the person that I am. I'm beating my wife because for me it became a norm. For me it became something that, okay, if my dad can do it, I can do it. But I want to get out of it because you've shown me that it is wrong.
Tata?
Wow. Well, that's a beautiful, beautiful life story. And I want to just take a little shift to the right. Here we are with a genuine life story. And I just want to push you a little bit further and hear how she will begin to advise the young boys and girls out there, teenagers, high school kids, who, when I look at her, many of the decisions and many of the traits and realities that she has to deal with as an adult woman, some of those choices were actually tampered with at a very elementary level. I mean, some of those worldviews were shaped when she was quite young. Some of those abuses happened at an early age, and they continue to haunt her right up into college until scars disappeared and etc. So maybe I want you to maybe just rewind a little bit. If it was a film in the olden days. Remember, I'm born in the 60s.
Okay.
We would stop a movie and go and literally rewind to go backwards. I want you to maybe to rewind backwards and maybe look at a group of high school kids, which space you understand very well, and the pressures that are there, the excitements that are there, and if you had something to be speaking to these young kids, what kind of message will you be telling the young boys in terms of the decisions that they are making when they are young, and how these decisions will affect them way later in life?
Okay, my first education to them would be learning to talk about what's happening, because bottling things up, it's what causes the problems we're sitting with right now. So if they learn to say, I am hurting, I am not treated well. If a parent said, because most of the parents we like to say to boys, "Hi, wana Australia," because there's a girl child that is much intelligent or brighter. Now,
and remembering that girls move faster than boys.
Yes,
doesn't mean that the boy is stupid.
Yes,
it might just mean that he's slow, but he'll catch up.
So as parents, we do that. So these kids, especially boy kids, they need to learn to say, "Mom, hold on, you hurt my feelings. I do not like it when you say 1, 2, 3, 4. So now, because right now we taught as kids, you cannot challenge your parent. But I'm not saying they should challenge. They should learn to say, in a good manner, "Mama, you said 1, 2, 3, and I didn't like it, and inside I am hurting." When they do that at an early age, they're learning to open up and they're dealing with the problem instantly, so that they don't grow up and now they have childhood traumas that they need to deal with.
Well,
you have 2 minutes left exactly.
With my 2 minutes left.
Do your last shot and I'll do my last parting shot.
Yeah, my one is on a very lighter note. You mentioned that on your Facebook, or what you call it, your trend, Instagram, you mentioned that polygamy is the new current. And you just mentioned that you're free. So yeah, I'm just putting it out there. I know you. I do that.
As long as they will understand that I've got a spiritual calling.
Yes.
I always say I do not want a man that is so consumed with Jesus, because I don't know Jesus, I know God. I want a man that will understand ukuthi Laura uzoshisa impepho, uLaura uzogeza ngeswasho, uLaura uzophuza umuthi.
Jesus is Lord. Laura will live her life as a traditional indigenous woman. So you guys, you heard it for yourself. If you are tempted, there is Laura here in South Africa, an indigenous African woman, a life coach and an author, and a mother. She's gone through trauma, medical trauma, psychological, physical, but there she is, back on her feet and changing the world, running some workshops in terms of developing the young men in the continent. And we're excited and very, very thankful that you made it to our show and spending some time with us. It's not as scary as they say it was.
No,
but,
not at all.
I'm actually encouraged. I'm very happy that you came. I could learn a thing or two from the stories that you're sharing. my life is not as bad as I thought it was.
No.
I think I still have my 2 lungs. I still have my kids. I still have. Yes, I have my problems, but honestly, I think this show has been quite encouraging and uplifting. And if you've been listening to the show while you are running, it's not as bad. You don't need to commit suicide or kill yourself. Stay with it. Find a solution. Deal with the issues. And at the end of the day, when you look back, you might actually discover that the things that will never kill you will build you.
Will make you
Your host and your co-host, Gogo Mfoko. My name is Maponga J. Chikaramponga Mashamba Huda. Chira na wana wanji. Chikarama mhimatanda na wara. Chiswana matanga ugara. Zugwe tenza no tenzera waru kuri wanpedo antamana zo mtambo ruparo ware. Chira bakusisira mpanango kubone masha kumagaro. Chira na wana wanji. We don't meet your source until we see you again. On Pembera na machira machena. I say, have yourself a wonderful evening. Don't do what I won't do. If you decide to do it, do it better.